Between 1998 and 2021, 47 people disappeared along the same 312-mile stretch of highway in the United States. No bodies, no suspects, no official connection, just gone. Authorities called it coincidence. Families called it a nightmare. But one man, just one, started connecting the dots, and what he uncovered suggests those people were never meant to be found. Because this wasn't random, it was organized, and it's still happening. The highway cuts through 3 states, long isolated stretches, sparse gas stations, dead zones where signals vanish. Truckers call it the quiet run. Not because it's peaceful, but because things go missing there. Not just people, time, memories, evidence, and sometimes entire vehicles. Emma Jones, age 26, graduate student. No history of mental illness. No reason to vanish. She leaves a voicemail at 9:14 p.m. "Hey, I'm about an hour out. GPS is acting weird, but I'll be." Message cuts. Her car is later found on the side of the highway. Engine off. Door slightly open. Phone still inside. No struggle. No footprints. No signs of abduction. Just absence. At first, Emma's case is treated as isolated. But then, a truck driver disappears. A couple on a road trip vanishes. A rideshare driver goes offline mid-trip. Different years. Different people. Same stretch. Authorities dismiss connections. Until Tom Wood, age 38, former investigative journalist. Career stalled after exposing police misconduct. Emma was his cousin. He doesn't believe she just wandered off. He starts digging. Tom maps every disappearance. Findings. All cases occur within a 40-mile corridor. The most happened between 8 p.m. to 2 a.m., and nearly all victims were alone or temporarily isolated. But one detail stands out. Every victim's phone lost signal at nearly the exact same location. Not poor reception. Total blackout. Tom visits the blackout zone. His phone drops instantly. GPS glitches. Time skips forward 3 minutes. He checks his dashcam later. There's a gap. 3 minutes missing. No corruption. No error. Just gone. Tom begins interviewing locals. Most refuse to talk. One gas station clerk finally says, "People don't disappear there. They get taken." Before Tom can ask more, the clerk retracts everything. Later that night, the clerk is found dead. Ruled a suicide. Truckers reveal rumors. Unmarked vehicles parked at odd hours. Temporary road closures with no official record. Strange lights in the distance. People walking along the road, then vanishing. One driver says, "You ever feel like you're being guided? Like the road wants you somewhere?" Tom obtains police radio logs. Finds something buried. Multiple reports of unauthorized checkpoints. But no agency claims responsibility. Even stranger, every report is quickly deleted or reclassified. Tom's obsession grows. He starts losing sleep. Relationships break down. He replays Emma's voicemail obsessively. Then he notices something new. A faint background sound. Not static. Not traffic. It sounds like machinery. Tom theorizes, what if the blackout zone isn't natural? What if something is interfering with signals? He cross-references land records. Finds a restricted property nearby, officially listed as decommissioned infrastructure site. But satellite images show activity. Recent activity. Tom sneaks closer to the area. Finds fresh tire tracks. Security cameras hidden in trees. A low-frequency hum in the air. Then, a black SUV appears. No markings. It doesn't chase him. It just follows. Tom escapes. Barely. When he reviews his footage, he freezes. Because for a split second, in the trees, he sees people. Standing still. Watching. Dozens of them. Tom doesn't sleep. He replays the footage again and again. Frame by frame. Enhances brightness. Slows motion. The figures in the trees. They're not moving. Not reacting. Just standing there. Too still. too uniform. And then he notices something worse. Their posture. Identical. Tom shifts focus. Instead of disappearances, he searches for people who reappeared. First, nothing. Then, one case surfaces. Mark Henderson, missing for 9 days. Found walking along the highway at 3:12 a.m. No injuries. No signs of trauma. But he couldn't explain where he'd been. Tom tracks Mark down. Mark is reluctant, nervous, keeps glancing at the door. Finally says, "I remember driving." Then nothing. Pause. "Then I was back." Tom presses. Mark hesitates. Then quietly, "It wasn't empty." Mark describes fragments. Bright white lights. A low humming sound. Being unable to move. Voices but not clear words. Then, he says something that shifts everything. There were other people there. Tom begins noticing a pattern in returnees. Partial memory loss. Distorted sense of time. Emotional detachment. Recurring nightmares. But the most disturbing detail, all of them avoid one specific topic. What happened inside? Tom consults a neurologist contact. They review Mark's brain scans. Findings: unusual neural activity. Patterns consistent with induced memory suppression. Not natural trauma. Not psychological shock. Deliberate interference. Tom cross-checks other return cases. Finds something buried in medical data. All returnees show similar anomalies. But one detail stands out. A small, consistent mark behind the left ear. Almost invisible. Like a healed insertion point. Tom's research hits a wall. Files disappear. Contacts stop responding. Emails bounce back. Then, he receives a call. Unknown number. A distorted voice. "Stop looking into the highway." Tom installs cameras in his apartment. Checks reflections. Watches cars outside. He's being followed again. But this time, closer. More direct. A message arrives. Encrypted email. No sender. Just coordinates. And a time. Tom arrives at an abandoned parking structure. A man steps out of the shadows. Ethan, former contractor. Nervous. Urgent. He says, "You're not wrong, but you're not even close." Ethan explains, there is a facility, not abandoned, active, hidden beneath the restricted land Tom found. He calls it a processing site. Tom asks, "Processing for what?" Ethan hesitates. Then, behavioral modification, data extraction, testing. Pause. They're not just taking people, they're studying them. Ethan reveals, the highway isn't random. It's strategic. A low surveillance coverage. A high transient population. Easy to control traffic flow. And most importantly, people pass through without connection. No immediate search pressure. Tom pushes further. What are they testing? Ethan's answer is chilling. Control. Not physical. Not force. Cognitive. Ethan claims, they're experimenting with a memory alteration, decision influence, behavioral redirection. And the goal? To make people do things without knowing why. Tom asks, why release them? Ethan, because the real test isn't inside the facility. It's what happens after they leave. Tom realizes, the returnees, they're not victims. They're part of the experiment. Walking variables. Unknowingly carrying something back into the world. Tom asks one last question. How many people are involved? Ethan looks at him, serious, then says, you're asking the wrong question. Ask how many aren't? As Tom leaves, he checks his phone. A new message appears. No sender. Just 3 words. You were inside. Tom stares at the message on his phone. You were inside. He checks the sender. No number. No trace. Just like before. But this time it feels different. Because this message is personal. Tom starts retracing his own timeline. Every trip. Every gap in memory. Every unexplained moment. First, nothing unusual. Then, he finds something small, but devastating. A receipt. Gas station. Dated 2 years ago. Location: the same highway. Tom digs deeper into his own past. Phone backups, emails, GPS logs. There's a gap. A full 11-hour window missing from his digital history. No calls, no messages, no location data. Completely erased. Tom begins experiencing sudden headaches, brief flashes of unfamiliar places, a persistent humming sound, like the one described by victims. Then, a memory surfaces, not clear, not complete, but enough. White light, cold metal surface. He can't move. Voices speaking but distorted. And then, a figure leaning over him, face blurred. But one detail stands out. A badge. No name, just a symbol. Tom rushes to the mirror, pulls back his ear. There it is. Faint, healed, the same mark. Tom realizes he's not just investigating the victims. He is one. Tom's behavior starts changing. He forgets conversations mid-sentence, finds notes he doesn't remember writing, wakes up in different rooms. Then, he finds something on his desk. A file, printed, labeled, subject, wood, tea. Inside, behavioral observations, a movement patterns, psychological profiling, and one chilling line. Subject shows strong resistance to suggestion. Further testing required. Tom wasn't taken by chance. He was selected, studied, and released. At the bottom of the file, a status update. Phase 2 initiated. Date: yesterday. Tom confronts Ethan, demands answers. Ethan looks shaken, because he didn't send the message. He didn't leave the file. Ethan admits, there are multiple teams. Even we didn't know everything. Pause. What you found? That's not my operation. This isn't one experiment. It's layered, compartmentalized. Even insiders only see fragments. Tom starts noticing patterns in his own actions. Moments where he feels compelled to do something. Not forced, just inevitable, like a thought that isn't his. Without realizing it, he drives back toward the highway. He doesn't remember deciding to go, but he's already there, at the exact blackout zone. His phone dies. The hum returns. Stronger now. His body feels heavy, slower, like something is synchronizing. Then, a realization hits him. The experiment isn't about controlling strangers. It's about creating triggers, commands, embedded during abduction, activated later. Tom tries to leave. His hands tighten on the wheel. He can't move them. Not fully, not freely. Headlights appear ahead, blocking the road. Black vehicles, unmarked, waiting. Doors open. Figures step out. Same posture, same stillness, like the ones in the trees. Tom realizes something terrifying. They're not guards. They're not agents. They're people. Returnees, just like him. His phone flickers back on. One final message appears. Phase 2. Compliance test. Tom sits frozen behind the wheel. Black vehicles ahead. Figures standing in formation. Not moving. Not speaking. Just waiting. The hum in the air intensifies. Low, vibrating, almost rhythmic. His breathing slows. Not by choice. Tom tries to move his hands. Nothing. Tries to speak. His voice doesn't come out. Then, a thought enters his mind. Clear. Sharp. Not his. Step out of the vehicle. And his body obeys. This isn't suggestion. It's execution. Tom steps out. Walks forward. Each movement precise. Mechanical. The figures ahead shift slightly, creating a path. Like they've done this before. Like they expect this. As he passes them, Tom sees their faces. Empty expressions. Dilated pupils. Subtle scars behind their ears. All of them. A realization forms. They're not guards. They're controlled subjects. Just like him. The ground ahead shifts. A concealed structure opens. Not visible from the road. A hidden entrance. Cold air rises from below. The hum grows louder. Tom walks down. Metal stairs. Dim lighting. Sterile walls. Everything feels clinical. Precise. designed. As he enters, the hum stops, instantly, and so does the control. Tom collapses, gasps for air. His body is his again. But the silence is worse. Because now, he knows it can be taken away at any moment. Tom moves carefully, finds rooms, observation chambers, monitoring stations, rows of empty beds with restraints. Screens line the walls, displaying live feeds, highways, cities, homes. This isn't local. It's national, maybe larger. One screen catches his attention. A list of subjects, scrolling, hundreds of names, then thousands. He finds his own name. Status, active, phase 2. Tom accesses a terminal, finds command records, entries like redirect route, delay response, induce compliance, each tied to a subject, each executed remotely. These people, they're being controlled in real life. Everyday decisions, subtle actions, all influenced, not experiments. Deployment. Tom hears movement, finds a locked room. Inside, a woman, weak, disoriented. Lena Morris, missing for 3 weeks. But unlike others, she remembers. Lena explains, they don't erase everything, they suppress it. Her memories are coming back, and they're unstable. She describes the process. Induction, abduction, conditioning, exposure, repetition, neural interference, release, back into society, activation, remote triggering. Tom asks, what's phase 2? Lena hesitates, then says, full compliance. Phase 1 equals testing influence. Phase 2 equals executing control. No resistance, no awareness. Suddenly, the lights shift. A voice echoes through the facility. Calm, controlled, familiar. It's Ethan. Ethan appears on screen. No fear now, no urgency, just composure. He says, you weren't supposed to get this far, Tom. He was never a whistleblower. He was monitoring Tom, guiding him. Tom wasn't just a subject. He was a test case, a resistant mind. They wanted to see how far he could go. Ethan continues, you're proof the system works. Pause. Even the ones who resist eventually comply. The hum returns, louder than before. Tom feels it instantly. His body stiffens. Ethan's final words. Let's finish the test. Tom's vision blurs. His body begins to move, not by choice. Darkness. The hum, louder than ever. Tom's body locks. His muscles tighten, not painfully but precisely. Controlled. Engineered. Ethan's voice echoes. Resistance is just another variable. Tom tries to fight it. Focuses. Forces a single thought. Move. Nothing happens. Instead, his body turns. Walks toward the center of the facility. A massive chamber opens ahead. Circular. Layered with observation decks. At the center, platform. Surrounded by machinery. Pulsing softly. Dozens of people stand around the platform. Still. Silent. All with the same mark. All waiting. Ethan appears, this time in person. Calm. Clinical. He studies Tom like data, not a person. You've lasted longer than any subject. That makes you valuable. Tom realizes, this isn't about control alone. It's about scaling control. Testing how strong minds break. So the system can adapt. Improve. Spread. Ethan reveals, we don't need to control everyone. Just enough people. In the right places. Leaders. Drivers. Technicians. Ordinary citizens. All subtly influenced. Decisions altered. Outcomes shaped. Not noticeable. Not traceable. Tom fights again. This time, something shifts. A memory. Not erased. Not controlled. Emma. Her voice. Her last message. That memory destabilizes the control. Just slightly, but enough. His fingers twitch. Ethan notices and smiles. Good. That's exactly what we needed. This was never about breaking Tom. It was about refining the system to handle resistance. And now, They've succeeded. The hum intensifies, stronger than before. Tom's brief control disappears. Completely. Ethan steps closer, looks directly at him. Kneel. Tom's body obeys instantly. No hesitation. No delay. Tom kneels. The last trace of resistance. Gone. Ethan turns to the observation deck. Other figures step forward. Not scientists. Not officials. Something else. Observers. Evaluators. This operation is not the top. It's just one site, one node. In a much larger system, screens activate around the chamber, displaying other highways, other facilities, other subjects, across the country, across the world. Days later, Tom is back on the road, driving, calm, normal, controlled. He passes a stranded car. A woman stands beside it, waving for help. Tom slows, stops, steps out. His expression, blank. The hum returns, soft, barely audible. And Tom says, "You shouldn't be here." Did the story send chills down your spine? And from which city are you tuning in tonight? Let's meet in the comments. If you enjoyed this dark tale, you can support me with a super thanks so I can keep uncovering more gripping true crime stories for you. Thank you so much for your support. It helps me bring even more suspenseful narratives to life. I'm looking forward to your thoughts on this mystery. There's a lot more waiting for you on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you in the next chilling story with intrigue and respect.